What's up, guys? This is going to be part 2 of Are Humans Biological Robots? Okay, robots. Now, the thing is, guys, remember, this is just, like a fictional. I can't prove any of this. You know what I'm saying? This is more so just like thought-provoking, metaphorical ways of describing our existence. You know what I'm saying? And how things could be. You know what I mean? Whether some of it is literal, happens to be literal, and whether, or if it's just metaphorical, a way of looking at things to kind of observe and explain and explore our existence. Okay, guys? Now, so I was talking about in that first video how, what if humans are biological robots and we were created in theory like for a purpose of like maybe working, like something that was more say our higher selves. A way you could look at it is like our higher selves, or just a life form that was obviously more advanced than us, and if it was able to create us, you know what I mean? Most people can look, like I said, you could look at this however you want to look at it. Like it could be metaphorical for the God, who people call God, or the Most High, whatever. But something that was more intelligent than what created us, right? You know what I mean? Created us, but with the ability for us to become self-aware, you know what I mean? And to evolve, you know what I mean? And to question our existence and things like that. And with that said, we would have to come from something, you know what I mean? So that's something that we come from, we probably would have, to some degree, its essence, you know what I mean? And so with that said, perhaps it cares enough about its creation, even if it was meant, you know what I mean, to work or something like that. It cared enough about it to also want it to evolve, you know what I mean, and bring it along, you know what I mean? And so with that said, I said in the first video, like, we become self-aware, you know what I mean, then we gain an ego. Now that's gonna sound contradictory to other things that I've said when I say, when it comes to evolution and becoming aware and becoming conscious, you know what I'm saying, you lose the ego. So like I said, it all depends on what context you're talking about things. So let's say everything is a progression though, right? So at first, perhaps the Most High made biological robots to not be self-aware at all and just straight up be worker bees or robots, right? But within your DNA, you had the ability, as they even say, that we only express or use a small percentage of our DNA, right? So with that said, let's just say that the Most High made us in a way at first where he didn't want a certain aspect of us to be expressed, you know what I mean? So he just made us to where we were just robots that were only capable of doing a limited amount of things, just like how we make computers and things now. The computers we had in the 90s, you see what I'm saying, was less capable than with the ones that we have now. You see what I mean? And as time go on, the computers, as they get more programs and better programs and more advanced programs and things, then the computers are able to do more. They're more advanced computers than they were in the 90s, right? And so look at it that way. You know what I mean? And so I was saying, like, but at a certain point, you don't have an ego and you're just a worker that would never challenge the Most High, would never, or its master or anything like that, you know what I mean? However you want to look at it, you know what I mean? And you were only programmed and only capable of doing what you were programmed to do and told and things like that. And the Most High had no problems. But let's say, you know what I mean, out of compassion, you know what I mean, and maybe even just as an experiment, you know what I'm saying, like you wanted that creation to evolve, and you know what I mean, and things like that. So then that creation becomes self-aware, and now it develops an ego. Now this is what I was getting into. It develops an ego where, you become self-aware, and our ego, most of us as humans, if you're egotistical, is because you know or think that you are something. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm this, I'm that. That's your ego. Like I'm the man, or I'm that girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm that whatever. I'm the boss, or it's the ego. You're aware of something that you believe that you are. You see what I'm saying? So you have the intelligence to now become aware and say, oh, I'm this, I'm that. You know, that's your ego. You know what I mean? And so let's say that most of humanity still is stuck there. You see what I'm saying? And you're in your ego. But let's say you have some people, you know what I mean, that are a little bit past that. You know what I mean? And then they shed their ego, or they're in the process of shedding their ego, and they're more self-aware it's like the next level. You're more self-aware past, you know, what you thought you were, or what you think you are, or what others think you are, or what others told you were. You know what I mean? And you know, what's the ego that society gives you. You start to become past that. I think we're in that stage now where that ego for a lot of people is breaking down, and we're going to the next step in evolution. Sometimes that could be painful. Another way you could look at that is some people was just born with it. You know what I mean? Like you could say some people were born with more of their programs, more of their DNA active, to where, you know what I mean, they were already on that path and on that road. They was born that way. Some people, from a religious or mythological standpoint, some people would say those are the sons and daughters of the gods. You know what I'm saying? The people who are, you know, not just that biological meat suit, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? They were just born with that 1 foot in the world, 1 foot, you know what I mean, 1 foot out, like a half and half. You know what I'm saying? You know, like that. As they say, you know, in movies and things, in the mythology, they call them demigods. You know what I mean? And things like that. So you have, so that can explain to you, that will explain too why you ask yourself, why are some humans able to just be a certain type of way, but some humans, some so-called humans aren't. You know what I mean? Like, so some people, they may just be programmed to just, you know, be a worker still. They just may be they may be just fine, or they may be in a state of existence where they can go and say, like I spoke on this in a previous video, you know, where they can go and work at a job for 30 years, and they can do that. Their existence, their being, they are programmed that God made. That's why you can never judge people, and you know what I mean, what one person doing and what another person doing, because everybody is made, people are made and programmed different, and God has different agendas. The Most High has different agendas for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And one person's agenda and what they're here to do, and what they are and what they're here to do, and what their destiny is, may be different from somebody else. So you know what I mean? So like I said, some people who can do stuff like that, is because that's what they was meant to do. And some people who just can't do it because you wasn't put here for that, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps you was put here for another reason, and you can't find. Everybody finds their comfort zone when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? That's one way you can kind of know, you know what I mean, that you on your path, or doing, you know, or doing your calling, or answering your calling, is when you start to fall into it, and you happy, and you know you at peace. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes the Most High, it could just be part of your journey and your lesson, depending on who you are, to where, you know what I mean, you may not be meant to be comfortable, based on the fact that you got things you got to do. And you ain't, like you said, you ain't supposed to be comfortable. Like I just said, you ain't supposed to be comfortable until you doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Then when you doing what you're supposed to do, then you'll be comfortable. So some people, it may have been their destiny to work at a particular job for 25, 30 years and things like that. And they was cool doing that, because that's what they was put here to do. You know what I'm saying? They fulfilled their purpose. You know what I mean? One of their purposes. You know what I mean? Somebody else, it may be different, you know what I mean, and things like that. But I think I said a lot. You know what I mean? Like I said, don't forget, this is just theoretical. You know what I'm saying? These are just ideas or metaphorical ways of putting things, and ways to look at our existence and things like that. You know, based off what we think we do know. You know what I'm saying? But it's real interesting though. You know what I mean? It's a real interesting concept of, you know, are we biological robots? Are some robots more, you know, more advanced than other robots? No different than, like I said, computers. some computers, you know, there are some computers that it's somebody, look, it's somebody, right, who probably still got an old Dell PC in a back room or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it still can work and all that, right? But and there's some people who still got Nintendos and Sega Genesis. You know what I'm saying? And those things still work, but they're limited in comparison to, you know what I mean? Now, if you got a MacBook, you know what I'm saying, or a PlayStation 5 or something like that. You see what I'm saying? And they all, you know, all those games, you know, all those gaming systems and programs all still exist here at the same time. But they all are different games with different, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. With different, you know, I ain't gonna say with different purposes. Yeah, with different purposes and things like that, you know. So this is, like I said, this is just something else to build on, you know, worthwhile content again, something interesting, something different, you know, in a world of content. I do it, I look at it all the time myself, look at, you know, hip hop entertainment and, you know, and things like that, or just looking at the news and or, you know, just certain type of content, you know what I mean? This is just a breath of fresh air, you know what I mean, in a different way of looking at things and thinking of things, and just a different form of entertainment. Because at the end of the day, this right here, this type of content is just entertainment, unless it could be proven, unless the theories and ideas can be proven. It's just entertainment and something to think about, you know what I mean? Something to expand your mind a little bit. All right, guys, peace.